Hello, my name is David Mokler. I am a subject librarian for medicine, and today I am going to demo the use of EndNote Desktop. Now, at the end of this session, you will learn how to access and use the desktop version of EndNote. We'll show you how to create an EndNote library, how to collect and harvest references to put into your library. We'll have a look at creating and managing groups within EndNote itself. And we'll see how EndNote and Microsoft Word combine together to allow you to input your references into Word documents, and we'll show you how to apply different referencing styles as well. So a quick breakdown of the session. First we'll have a look at EndNote installation, and then we will create a library and populate it with references from the library catalog, from databases. We'll have a look at PDFs, and I'll also show you how you can find the full text to attach to your references in your EndNote library. Once in EndNote, we'll also look at how we can create and manage groups. And for the final bit of the session, we'll see how Microsoft Word and EndNote combine, and we'll have a look how to insert and remove references. We'll have a look at various different referencing styles and how to edit or delete a reference. So we use reference management software to bring together our references from various different sources. We can import the references from multiple databases and also from the library catalog. We can also manually enter references ourselves and save them. Now, this reference management software comes in various different forms. There's Zotero, EndNote Online, Mendeley, etc. So you'll see these names banded around. But here in Trinity, we have a paid subscription to EndNote 25, and we would encourage you to use it as that is the one we currently support. So reference management software, it automates the creation of bibliographies. So in addition to being able to put references into your Word document, EndNote will also create a bibliography at the end. It allows you to format references for yourself according to your required referencing style. It will allow you to import references into your own EndNote library as you search databases, electronic journals, and other resources. And it will allow you to insert correctly cited references into your document, including Microsoft Word and Google Docs, etc. This feature is called Cite While You Write. Now, to install EndNote, it's free for registered students and staff to install on their personal computers, laptops, etc. EndNote Desktop is installed on PCs in all of TCD's computer rooms. Okay, so we'll just go and have a look at the library website ourselves, just to show you where EndNote can be installed. Okay, so this is the library homepage, and if you Google TCD library, you'll come straight here. And to find the EndNote information, if you scroll down the page on the right hand side, you'll see an option for managing references, and that's where our EndNote information is. So just click on that link. Takes me in. So the first bit is it's just about a bit of blurb about what your reference manager does. There's a recording of a previous EndNote session, and hopefully we'll update it with this one. But more importantly, here we're concerned with how we can download. And if you have a look at the left hand side, you'll see the option to download EndNote. And if we click on it, you'll see there's two different versions. So you can download for Windows or you can download for Macs. Now follow the instructions, okay, when you're doing it. For the Windows version, there are two files, an installation file and a license file. The best way to install is to create a blank folder somewhere, perhaps on your desktop, and to put both files in there, both the license file and the installation file. And when you click on the installation file, it'll pick up information from the license file and it should install correctly. If you're asked for a product key, you probably haven't downloaded both files, so make sure the license file is there. The Mac installation is quite straightforward, it's just one file and it should install quite quickly. Okay, you have other various bits of information here to help you. There's a support page as well with videos and tutorials, documentation, and various other bits and pieces. And we also have an EndNote FAQ as well, so you can see various bits of information there. Okay, so back to the library homepage, and You can see that's where we went originally, managing references. And then the next bit we're going to be interested in is the databases. So we're going to search the databases to find journals to add to our EndNote library. Okay, so just minimize this for 2 secs. And I'm just going to open up a library now. So I go to my EndNote. I have it previously installed on my PC, and that's it, EndNote. So if I double click, so I'm going to create a new library. Now the default is my EndNote library. I'm going to stick it on the desktop. Click Save. And this is my new library. And as you can see, it is blank. Okay, so the EndNote window is divided in 3 panes. Over on the left-hand side, we have what we call the groups pane, and this is where you can take references from your library and add them into various different groups. So for instance, if you were doing your thesis, you may have a group for your introduction, your chapter 1, 2, 3, etc., and also maybe a group for your conclusion. The other thing is you may have various different assignments or projects on. You can create different groups for that as well. So there's various different things you can do with groups. Here in the center, this is where the references will appear when you start adding them from databases or library catalogs, etc. And this is referred to as the reference pane. And over on the right hand side, we have what we call the edit pane. So if you select a reference in the reference pane, you can come over here if you need to edit an author's name or the journal title or the article title, that kind of thing. So that's all can be done here within these screens. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize this for a second. So this is our blank library. It's ready to go. So we just need to add content to it. So back into my browser. And this is where we start using the databases. So I click on databases, brings us into the library's database page, and you can see we have just over 1,000 databases available to us. Now, depending on your subject area, you will have different databases that you use to access for information. I am the medical librarian, so I use the medical databases, but for instance, you're doing history, you can use the history databases, English, etc., etc. You have your own selection of databases that you use. But luckily enough, the way EndNote works with databases is quite generic. So what you see in one database generally replicates to another database. Okay, so we're just going to have a look at various different ways and we can bring references into EndNote from databases. Now, the first database I'm going to have a look at is a database called the Web of Science. So I click on W. I'll just do a quick search for it here. So here we have the Web of Science. It's all databases and the core collection. Now I'm going to select the core collection for this one. Just click on it. Okay, and this takes me in. So what you're seeing here is a typical database screen where it wants you to search, so it can go and look for articles that match your search query. Now in the Web of Science, I do actually like to use the advanced search. So I just click on that. And there you go. The topic is bird flu and vaccine. So that's what we're searching the database for. And just to show you, bird flu is in double quotes. That indicates we're searching for that exact phrase. So we're searching for bird flu as a phrase. And so that's a Boolean operator. It means that VACCIN must also be in the search results. And that asterisk at the end, that indicates you must find VACCIN and any combination of letters afterwards that makes sense. So it'll search for vaccine, vaccines, vaccination, vaccinated, that kind of thing. Okay, so this is what we call a wildcard. Okay, so just going to click on search and it finds 155 results from the Web of Science collection. Okay, if you scroll down, you see the results are presented here. Now this is the same in all databases. You put your search in and your results are presented to you. Now it's the resulting studies that we are interested in. So these are what we want to bring into EndNote. Okay, the results of our search. Now there's various different ways you can do that. You can select them all and bring them in. Now, I do a lot of big systematic reviews and we would tend to bring all our results in. So I would select all 155 in this instance. But the other option is to actually select individual records, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to select the first 5. So what you can see, I'm just putting a tick in the box beside those references. Okay, so I've selected 5. Now I scroll back up. Now the next thing you need is, generally when you do these things, you run your search, you select your results. Now you're actually looking for some command that will allow you to link in with EndNote. And generally that command sits above the result list, and in this case it's called export. But you may also see download or sometimes cite or some terminology like that, which indicates that you can bring those results into your EndNote library. So if I click the down arrow on export, there's an option to bring into the online version of EndNote or the desktop version. So it's the desktop version we're using today, so I select that. Okay, now it says you have selected 5 results, and those are the 5 I've selected. There's the option to bring in the 155 if I want it. And the next thing then is, what is the content of what you're bringing in? So the option here, or the default option here, is the bare bone minimum. Okay, so we have author, article title, journal title. Okay, what we really need, and I click the down arrow here, is the abstract. Okay, so we select abstract as well. Now the reason we bring the abstract is when we're trying to determine if a study is relevant to our needs or not, we need the abstract to make that quick, give us that quick look at the study, see whether it's relevant. Okay, so I've clicked on export, and now what's happening is the Web of Science is preparing those 5 records for export into EndNote. So we'll just give it a second here, and here it pops up. So these are the records I've selected from the Web of Science that are ready to bring into EndNote. Now depending on which browser you're using, I'm using Firefox, this dialog box appears at the top of the screen, but if you're using Chrome or Edge, it may appear down here on the bottom right hand side. Okay, to bring the records in, all I need to do is click, and there they go. Okay, so these records from the Web of Science have now been added to my EndNote library. Okay, and if you select a reference, go over here to edit, you can see it there, the author, the year, the title, etc., etc. So all the information is in the correct space. Okay, and if you just do that quickly for the records, you'll see it's all there. Okay, so where I am currently is imported references, but there is also all references here, which is the totality of my library. Okay, so we'll go back and do that another search. So we'll go back to the browser. I can close down the Web of Science, and the next database I shall have a look at is a database called Embase, and that's EM. So click on the E's. There it is, Embase. Okay, so again, this is another big biomedical database, but what I am showing you here tends to be applicable in all databases as well. So I do the exact same search, and when you do the exact same search across multiple databases, that's what we call systematic searching. Okay, so again, you can see bird flu and vaccine. It's currently giving me 3,872 results, which is quite as substantially different from the 155 I got in the Web of Science. But if I click this, okay, and basically when you search databases, you should actually tell the database where you want to find your phrase, bird flu, and the term and vaccine. Okay, so generally the best place, title or abstract, and in the case of Embase, title, abstract, or author keywords, which is equivalent to the topic search we did in the Web of Science. And that 3,800 results now becomes 177. So I'm going to show those results, and there you can see it. And here, just like in the Web of Science, is our result list. So all the studies are there. These are being sorted by relevance, so those that are most relevant are at the top. And again, I'm just going to select the first 5. If I wanted to select them all, I do it up here. And for individual records, I just come down here and select them as I need them. Okay. Now scroll back up. 5 records selected. And there's that export. But again, that might be download, or it might be cite or something like that. So just click on export. Okay. And this dialog pops up, so export to RIS format, and in brackets you can see Mendeley, and just outside it there is EndNote, Mendeley EndNote, okay? And that's the format, this RIS format, that's the format that EndNote, and indeed a lot of the reference management softwares will recognize, okay? So it's there by default, you don't have to do anything. So all I need to do is click on export. And again, it's preparing those records just as the Web of Science did. So we just give it a second. Then I click on download. And there's that dialog box again. So to bring the Embase records in, I just click this top one here. And hopefully those records are now added to my library. As you can see, there they are. And again, it's just these imported records from Embase that are on display here. Okay. And again, you can check them here on the right hand side. And if you want to see all the references, including those from the Web of Science, you just go up here on the left hand side in your groups pane and select all references. And there they are, all 10 references. Okay, so again, back to my browser to get more references. So I just close down my Embase. Okay, and for the next resource I'm going to have a look at, I'm actually going to come slightly away from the databases, going into the G's, and this time I'm going to have a look at Google Scholar. And there it is, Google Scholar. And you can see it's listed on our database page, so you can come in and access it this way. And I just put in my phrase again, so bird flu and vaccine. Okay, and there you can see the results. Now, Google Scholar is a version of Google that just searches academic sources. Okay, so it tends to be quite good and quite relevant if you are doing research. And just to show you, for each study it returns, you have all these options here underneath. So you see a cite option. Okay, and if I click on that cite option, it shows you your reference in various different referencing styles, so MLA, APA, Chicago, Harvard, Vancouver, but it also has an option that allows you to bring them in to your reference management software. So I just click on the EndNote to bring this reference in. And again, that appears at the top of the screen. And to bring it into my library, there it is. Okay, so that's the reference from Google Scholar now in my EndNote library. Now, the references we bring in from Google Scholar tend to be quite light. There's not much information in them. As you can see, again, it's bare minimum information that you're getting. One thing you can do, just click on the reference there. If you right click on a reference, there's an option there to find reference updates. Okay, so I'll just click on that. And it's for this particular reference, so it's gone off. It's what EndNote is doing. It's searching online to see if we can find more information to update the record we already have. So I'm going to update all fields. It has found some information. Click OK. Okay, and hopefully this record, if you have a look on the right hand side, now has additional information in it. And as you can see, it does. And of particular interest to me is the DOI. Okay, so what the DOI is, it's like the number plate in your car. It identifies individual journal articles, and you can search on the DOI, and why it's really handy is it can allow you to find the full text of the document as well. So it's a very handy thing to have added to your reference. Okay, so we now have 11 references in our library. We have 5 from Embase, 5 from the Web of Science, and 1 Google Scholar reference as well. Now, just going to show you something I have on my desktop. Okay, so we can bring references in, as you've seen, from databases as well, but sometimes we might be reading electronic journals and we come across an article that we like or whatever, and we may save or have a couple saved into a folder that we might want to bring into our EndNote library. And as you can see, I have this PDF folder, and within it I have 3 studies. Okay, so I want to bring this into my EndNote library, and the way I do that is I go to EndNote. Okay, I go to the file menu, and if you scroll down in the file menu, you'll see an option to import, and what we have is a folder with PDF. So we select folder and just choose that from the desktop, and there it is. Click OK. Now the other is, it's the import option is PDFs, and that's there by default, so that's okay. So I just click then on import, and that should bring those 3 studies in from that folder. And there we go. You can see there's the 3 studies from the folder. And what you notice, if I go to all references, those 3 references that I put in, they're the only ones with paper clips attached. Okay, and what the paper clips indicate is that the PDF, the full text of the document, is there as available. So if I just click on that one, for instance, and I come over here to the right hand side, click on PDF, you can see it there. So I'll just maximize it there for you. There you go. Okay, so you actually have, in addition to the reference itself, you can have the PDF attached, which is quite a handy feature to have, I must admit. Okay, that's lovely. So those 3 references from the PDF folder are now in my library as well. So we now, in our library, we have 14 studies. Okay, so the next kind of item I'm going to add is actually a book reference. Now there's various different ways you can do this again, but probably the easiest way is this online search option within EndNote. Now previously, when we searched for material to put into our library, we've gone to the databases, as you've seen. We went to Google Scholar, we ran our searches there. This method is slightly different. So what we're actually doing is we're going to search from within EndNote. So on online search, you see I have an option here for Trinity College Dublin. And if you can't see that, you just go up to Tools, Online Search, and you can search till you find Trinity College Dublin there, and just click Choose, and that will then appear there. Okay, so I just click on Trinity College Dublin, and what happens is we have this screen. So this is like a search screen in a database, and I'm doing a search for a book by an author called Judith Bell. So just put in her surname, Bell, and the title of the book is Doing Your Research Project. Okay, so just put that in, Bell, Doing Your Research Project. Click on search. And it's searching our library. So just click on search. And you can see searching Trinity College Library, and it's found various different editions of this book. Now this is just a reflection of the fact that Trinity is a copyright library, and we tend to get editions of most things which we don't get rid of. So we have an edition of this book stretching all the way back to 1993, and we have the current edition at 2024. So I'm just going to bring the current edition in. I just untick that one up there. I only want this version. Now I need to add this to my library up here, all references. Okay, so this isn't actually my library, this is just the result list from a search. So to add a result from this search to my library, I just select the reference and click on this option here, this circle with a plus. So quite quickly do it, and if I go to all references, you see that Bell is now there. Now when I click on this, I come over to summary, what you see here on the right hand side is how the reference will appear in the bibliography in your Word document. Now the style currently selected is Vancouver. If you want to see it in a different style, APA for instance, it'll change, or Chicago, it'll change. So various different styles, you can see how your reference will look, and I've just gone back to the Vancouver here. Okay, and that's how it will look in the Vancouver style. And what you will notice as well is that EndNote has automatically picked up that this is a book reference, and it has formatted it correctly then for book references in the Vancouver style. So this is all as it should be. Okay, so we kind of looked at how we can populate our library. As you've seen, we had a look at the databases, the library catalog, Google Scholar, and we brought those PDFs in from the folder. Now, some of the functionality within EndNote itself. So in here in the reference pane, we have these display fields: author, reference type, title, year, journal. If you want to change them, just right click up here. Anything with a tick beside it is currently displaying. So for instance, if I want to get rid of reference type, I untick that box, and now reference type is gone. If I want to reinstate it, right click, click on reference type, and back it goes. Okay. The thing with these display fields is that you can sort on them. So if I want to sort by author, A to Z, Z to A, just click on the author field. Okay, you see. And again, I can do the same for year, for title, for journal, etc., etc. You can sort in any of these display fields. And this one here is just for file attachment. So you see it there. Okay. So you can sort in any of those display fields. The other thing you can do with your library is you can create groups. Now our library is quite small at the moment. There's only 15 references in it. But if you were doing your PhD, your masters, you may have 10,000 plus references. Oh, sorry, PhD, you may have 10,000 plus references. Maybe a master's, you might have 2,000 to 3,000. Okay. So yes, you can have a lot of references in your library. What EndNote allows you to do is that you can create groups, so you can make your library more manageable, especially if you have a lot of references, or maybe you have various different projects on the go or assignments on the go at the same time. So it's quite easy to create groups in EndNote. Over here on the left hand side, there's an option, My Groups. There's also a Groups menu. So if you click on the Groups menu, you can create a group there. Okay, I can go down here, and I can do the same if I right click on My Groups, and there's the option Create Group as well. So I'm going to create a group. I'm going to call it Must Read, and when I click on it and go in, you see that there are no references in my Must Read folder. So now I'm going to add some references. Okay, so I'll take a couple of references here. So I'll take one. And if you need to select more than one reference, just keep the Control key pressed down, or if you're using a Mac, the Command key. And I'll just select 4 here. Okay. And I'm going to add those to my must read group. So I'll go up to Groups, Add References to, and there's Must Read. If you had more than one group, it would be listed here. So if you're doing your PhD, you could have your Chapter 1, Chapter 2, etc. So you get to select which group you want. The other way to do it is if you just click and hold the click, you can drag them over, and that does the exact same thing. So you see those 4 references are now added to my Must Read full group. But you notice they also stay in the main library as well. So it means you can add a reference to more than one group. And if I go into my Must Read, there are the 4 references I have selected. Now, the other thing I'm going to do now is another bit of EndNote functionality is I'm going to select all these references in my Must Read groups. So I just click on one and go up to Edit, Select All. I can do Control A, do the same thing. And now all the references are selected here. Now I'm going to ask EndNote to go and see if it can find the full text of these articles and attach it. So the way I do that, as you can see, is I've selected them all first. And if I go up here, there's an option to find full text. So I click on that. And what we have here is it's now searching. You see there, find full text, searching for 4. It's found 1 PDF. It's found 1 URL, 1 not found, 2 not found. Okay, so that wasn't very good, but we do have 1 here, the Aldrich one. And there you can see it there. Okay, so that's the PDF. And if you want to open it up wider, there is an option here. Okay, and that's actually straight. So what we have here, we've gone straight from the reference to the full text. Okay. Okay, and one last thing I want to show you as well. When we run the search that we did, that bird flu and vaccine, we run it across numerous databases. Like I say, that's called systematic searching. But one thing with systematic searching is that you tend to find duplicates. Okay, so different databases will have the same reference. So what I'm going to do is select all the references in the library. So just click on one of them and Control A, and all the references are selected, or you can just go to Edit and select all. So all the references are now selected in my library. So I just go up to the library menu up here at the top, and there's an option here to find duplicates. So you're asking EndNote to find duplicates within your library. So I click on that. Okay, and it's found some. Okay, so basically what it's saying here is which one do you want to keep. Now I scroll down through the record and I see this one has a DOI, this one doesn't, so I'm going to keep this one. Okay, and I scroll down through these. And again, this is just a judgment call, whichever one looks better. So these both look good, so it doesn't really make any difference. So I'll just keep that one. Okay, so now that's eliminated the 2 duplicates from my library, and each reference now has just 1 copy therein. Okay, so that's how we create our library, how we can add references to it. Now the next bit then is just to see how all this comes together in Microsoft Word. I'm just going to open up Word, create a blank document. Okay, and what you see in Word is that we have this menu option. So when you install EndNote onto your PC or Mac, you will now have an EndNote option in your word processor. Now I'm just going to put some text on the page. Okay, and there we go. So we just have the text on the page that we now want to add our references to. Now this feature, this EndNote feature within your word processor is called the Cite While You Write feature. So literally you can cite while you are writing your Word documents. Okay, now the first thing you want to do if you want to put a reference into your Word document is to indicate where you want that reference to go. So here at the end of the first sentence, video provides a powerful way to help you prove your point. I've just created a space there between point and the full stop. And generally your references, when you add them to a document, go before punctuation, before a full stop, before a comma, etc. Okay, so now I want to add a reference at that point. So again, up here into the EndNote menu, insert citation, and I'm going to do a search for, okay, so just, now sometimes this happens, so what I'm going to do is just close down my library and just open it again. Just close that down. Now just open my library again, so just click on EndNote. Okay, so we'll just try that again. So insert citation. Do a search for Bell, and there she is. Click on it, click on insert. And we'll just give it a second. So the first one that goes in can be a bit slow, but this one was actually nice and quick. And there's Bell. Okay, so you see it's gone in as a number. That's because we're using the Vancouver style up here at the top, but you can change to any style you want. There's a couple of the common ones are listed. The Vancouver, the one I use quite often, but you see APA is there too. And APA, as you can see, is an author date style. I change that again to a Turiban. And if I go back, it'll be a Vancouver. So back to, so basically you can change and flick between styles. So it puts in the reference into the text, and it also puts the reference in the bibliography as well. Okay, now I'm going to add more references to my document. So just open this up a bit, and I'm going to do at the end of the paragraph, different galleries, create a space, and this is where I want my second reference to go. Okay, now I'm going to add this reference in a slightly different way in that I'm going back to my EndNote library. I'm going to select the references I want to put in. So I'm going to use Bell again, and I'm going to keep the Control key or Command key if you're using a Mac pressed, and I select two others at random. Okay, now I want to add these references to the end of the first paragraph, and the way I do that is I've selected them here. I have my insertion point in my Word document, and there's an option here to insert from EndNote. So that's what I'm going to do. And there you can see they have now gone in. Those three references I selected in my EndNote library are now being added to my Word document. And if you come to the end of the document, you can see they're also being added to the bibliography as well. Okay. Okay, so what we have here then, so if you want to remove a reference then, so what you notice is when you click on these, they turn gray. Okay, these are the bits that have been added by EndNote. So these gray bits are actually have XML tags on them, and what that means is if you've, say for instance, if there's something you want to change in here, a name or a journal title, whatever, you can't go in here and start typing and get rid of the one, okay, because that will actually mess up your documents. Okay, so if you need to move or remove reference, what you do is you click on the reference you want to remove. So in this case I'm going to remove that first one. So I've clicked on it, it's turned gray, and now I go up here to the top and there's an option to edit and manage citations. If I click on it, there's that one I've selected, and if I want to remove, There's the option to remove citation. Click OK, and it's now gone from the Word document. So I just close that space, and that's returned normal. Now we've used Belle twice. She's also here at the end of the first paragraph. Okay, so that means that she still remains in the bibliography. Okay, so if I want to remove her from this reference, again, you just click on it, and that's the one you want to alter. You go up to Edit, Manage. I want to move the second version of Belle. So I do it, and there's an option here to remove citation. So when I remove this, just keep an eye on this 1-3 and see what happens. So I'm going to remove the citation. Click OK. Now that becomes 1,2 because Belle is now gone. She's been removed from the bibliography. So now there's only 2 references. So we got 1,2. So the document automatically renumbers because of the things we've done. So it's very, very intuitive. Now the other thing you will find as well is, say for instance, you've spotted something that is not quite right here. So Alcan, say for instance, is not the author's name. Okay, you want to change that. So you can't just go in there and type something and get rid of it. If you need to change something there, you go back to your EndNote library. There's the Alcan reference. And if I come over to edit, and what I'll do is I'll just change that to Balkan. Okay, so it's Balkan. I click on save. Okay, I come back to my Word document. It's still Alcan there, but there's an option here to update citations because I've made that change now. So I'm just going to click on that, and that now becomes Alcan. So that's how we do it. If you need to make any changes in there, go back to your EndNote library, make the change, save, then back here and update. Okay, and there you go. Okay, so that's how we work in the Word documents. We can add our references, we can remove them, and we can edit them as well. Okay, now this document that's connected to your EndNote library is very important. Okay, it actually acts as a traveling library. So if, for instance, if you somehow manage to corrupt your original library, you could still extract all the references from the Word document. That's what we call a traveling library. Okay, so the document, you can extract the references and create a new library just from the document itself. So it's quite important that you keep a backup of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this onto the desktop. I'm just going to call it video. Save. Okay, so this is the original, and this is my master copy. Now I'm going to make another copy of this. So I'm going to File, Save a Copy, Desktop, and this one I'm going to call Video 2. So this is a copy of the master. Now the reason I'm creating a copy, I'm going to show you now, is, and this is the Video 2, so this is the copy version. So the reason I'm creating a copy of it is what I want to do is strip off the XML tags, okay, so that I have just a clean Word document. Now, there's various different reasons why you may want to do this. You may want to send it to somebody that doesn't have access to EndNote or your library, and in that instance, sometimes the references may not appear formatted correctly. You may be sending it to the printers to get a hard copy bound, etc., etc. So there's very different reasons why you might want to strip out the XML. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So this is the copied version of my master. So what I'm going to do is convert this into a plain Word document, and there's the option to convert to plain text, and it says, would you like to save a backup copy before converting? So I have that backup copy, so I'm okay. So just to make sure yourselves that you do have that backup copy. So I'm just going to convert this copy I have of the master into a plain Word document. So I've clicked that option, convert. And if you now see, okay, so it no longer turns gray and all the XML has been stripped out of it. Okay, so that's all you really need to know for this end of it, how to put them in, how to take them out, and how you can also make edits. And that's all I wanted to show you today in relation to EndNote, just a very quick introduction to, and hopefully it will get you up and running and using EndNote correctly. If you run into problems, please go to your subject librarian and they should be able to advise, and it could be around EndNote, it could be around the use of databases or other resources that you want to use. But I'm going to sign off for now, and I'm going to wish you the best of luck when it comes to using EndNote yourself.